who's down in who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Welcome to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor, your one-stop shop when it comes to animation news and commentary. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and Mr. Taylor, whose writings on the industry you can regularly read over at The Wrap, and whose musings on Mission Impossible movies you can listen to on the Light Diffuse podcast, he and I are recording this week's show on Sunday, May 14th, 2023, Mother's Day. So thanks to all the moms out there. And your mom relocated from Connecticut like 2 years ago, right? So
yeah, she's in Nebraska, but me and my younger sister sent her dinner, so I think hopefully that's our way of being with her sort of on Mother's Day. So we should all be so lucky to have a mother as long as you have one, Jim.
Well, speaking of which, by the way, I made the mistake of saying my mother was 92 last week. Turns out she's 91. And even at that age, women are sensitive about their age. Also, you mentioned food. Is your mom like my mom? You go to her house and she hands you food because evidently where you live, there are no supermarkets?
Correct.
I don't understand this. All right. I literally arrived at my mom's house today with a 1,500-pound party-sized lasagna. In fact, we negotiated this earlier in the week because all of my brothers and sister and their various siblings and kids were going to come by the house. And I thought, you don't want to cook. You'll have it there. You can serve it. But she now starts handing me food. And the thing that drives me crazy is, and God help me if my sister actually listens to this podcast, she's handing me the food that my sister gives her. My sister is genetically linked to my mother, so evidently she thinks, wow, I should get mom food. And she can put it in the freezer. And it's like, just put it this way, folks. If the world ever comes to an end, just go to the Hill House. There will be food enough there for several millennia. Mostly deeply frozen. And you all better like squash soup because there was like 3,000 containers of that, which I took 12 of them home with me today. So anyway, happy Mother's Day. Okay. In addition to being Mother's Day, it is the 12th day of the WGA strike, which started back on May 2nd. What are we hearing out there, Drew?
I am hearing it is going to be going on for a very long time. And I've also heard that the WGA and SAG are also potentially going to strike very soon. So it could be a very interesting time in Hollywood, Jim.
Because from the animation side of the fence, what's been interesting, I think it was Deadline that reported that Seth MacFarlane and the showrunners on American Dad and Family Guy, in solidarity, were putting down their pencils. Now, mind you, this is after completing the 20th season of American Dad, and God knows how many seasons of Family Guy there've been at this point.
Pretty impressive considering I looked up how much Seth MacFarlane is worth, and it's like $350 million. So I appreciate him getting down and dirty with the rest of the strikers.
Now, speaking of strikers, there is so much writing on the Writers Guild strike, but at the same time, there's something significant going on over at Disney. Did you see the picketers outside of the building there that are striking because they want to unionize?
Is this the animation workers?
Yeah.
I didn't see that they were striking too, but that is great. I mean, I'm so happy about that.
Some stuff has been bubbling up on social media that they've been kind of thrown into eclipse by what's been going on all over town. But there's a group of folks over at Disney who want to set up a union, and they're coming up against the Mouse House management and just want to acknowledge, hey, we've seen that. And if somebody wants to reach out and share what's going on, we'd love to chat with you folks. Anyway, beyond that, animation continues to be big at the box office. We are 5 weeks and change into Super Mario Brothers. Was number 2 at the box office behind Guardians, which everyone's talking about how well, normally with the MCU films, they fall off a cliff in week 2. this one had a surprisingly strong hold. But as of right now, Super Mario domestically is at $535 million, and it's worldwide, it's almost $1.2 billion at this point, right?
Yeah.
That is just crazy.
It just became the I think last week Minions was still the most successful Illumination movie, and now Mario has eclipsed it since. Yeah.
Now, realistically, though, Mario has done as well as it has, because, again, it got great word of mouth for fans of the game. It gave them what they wanted. But it also kind of was able to take advantage of the fact that there just wasn't a whole lot of family-friendly stuff out there. But that changes in 2 weeks' time when the Disney live-action Little Mermaid, which they have begun the promotional push for that. Isn't tonight Disney night on American Idol? And they've been hyping this all week because I guess Halle Bailey is going to make an appearance on the show, and I think they're going to show the Part of the World number again.
Yeah, I saw photos of her from sort of inside Club 33 earlier this week. So yes, she will be there. Yes.
And again, we mentioned on last week's show, you were the very next day, we're going to be, watching the premiere again across the street at the Dolby. Is the embargo up yet? Can you actually talk about this, or?
I think I can share my thoughts. I can't review it, obviously, but
okay.
Yeah, it's solid. It's very long. It's 134 minutes or something, which I don't really understand how kids are going to sit through that.
Okay.
But as I understand, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is also very long.
Really?
So
oh, wow. Okay.
maybe this is the summer where children learn to sit still and quiet for a prolonged period of time.
Right. The trades were just covering, there's the 3 new songs that Menken did with Lin-Manuel, but they were also talking up the fact that stuff from the original film has been cut. Don't get me wrong, nobody walked out the door humming, We Are the Daughters of Triton. But is it true? Did they cut the Chef Louis song too?
Yeah, Le Poisson or whatever. Yeah, that's not in there. And there's a very simplified version of Fathoms Below that is in the movie, but not as robust as we remember it. But hey, Jim, it's a trade-off because you get to hear Scuttle rapping. So, it's what we've always wanted. Now I'm just thinking about Buddy Hackett trying to do those Lin-Manuel verses.
Oh, you're killing me. By doing what they did, removing the songs they did, foreshortening Fathoms Below and getting rid of Daughters of Triton, the idea was that part of your world would hit that much bigger, that much more effective. And don't get me wrong, you and I saw that at D23, and I thought it was a really great rendition of the song, but how far in are we into the movie before Ariel sings for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty far in. I mean, what's interesting, too, is that they gave her another number after she goes through the transformation, which is kind of inside her head, which is a great solution because you could see, the people sitting around the board table going, she doesn't sing in the second half. She doesn't sing. We got to get her to sing.
Okay.
So that was kind of the workaround for that.
Wow.
There's also a very weird element where after the spell is cast, part of the spell is also that she can't remember that she's got to kiss Prince Eric. So the animals, the Sebastian and Flounder and Scuttle know, but she doesn't. So, which adds a whole nother crazy dimension to Kiss the Girl because they're kind of trying to engineer this moment without her even knowing what it's all about. Which is both interesting and unnecessarily complicated. So yeah, there's some interesting adjustments in this new one.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well.
It will make a lot of money, though, Jim. It will be one of the biggest movies of the summer, for sure.
Nathan, I just had the Celtics game on here, and you literally 2 ads aired back to back. They did the new Transformers ad, but they also ran the latest iteration of the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse comes out the very next weekend. I mean, The Little Mermaid gets the Memorial Day weekend, and more people will go to the movies on that Monday. Then Spider-Man drops right after that, and then 2 weeks after that comes Pixar's Elemental, which, by the way, I had somebody reach out from Disney trying to sort of sell me on the idea that this is Pixar's first ever rom-com. What do you think about that positioning of this project?
That's interesting.
Mhm.
I mean, they always have very strong messaging for these things. You'll recall the Good Dinosaur. It's not a Western guardrails that were put up before the movie came out. Sure, I guess it is the first rom-com. I don't know. I mean, again, I feel like the romance is kind of secondary to this kind of amazing, immigrant story that the movie is. But sure.
But at the same time, Pixar's Elemental comes out on the same weekend as The Flash, which wasn't the word coming out of CinemaCon that was surprisingly strong after all of the bad press that have wrapped around that thing?
Yeah, I've heard it's wonderful.
Okay.
I mean, people have said it's, as good as, one of the Christopher Nolan movies or Batman 1989 or Superman 78. So.
Okay. Oh, before we leave Pixar Elemental, I want to remind folks that the day the show drops is when the art of Elemental comes out from Chronicle Books. And when we finish up here, Drew, I'm going to hop on Amazon and get my copy of that ordered. And, and of course, if you happen to be hopping on Amazon to do that, folks, I told you about the wonderful Art of Onward book. That is also worth adding to your reference library. Anyway, and then just 2 weeks after all of that, Pixar Elemental and The Flash, here comes Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, which, are you seeing anything for that out in LA? I mean, are they at least doing the billboards or that sort of thing yet?
I haven't seen anything. In fact, over at Universal, we drove by yesterday, and I think there was a billboard for Strays, which comes out in August, which is kind of an animation live action hybrid we can talk about closer to when that comes out. But I haven't seen anything for Ruby Gillman. I don't know. I don't know if this is like something that will be on Peacock very quickly or something, but yeah, I don't see a lot about it. I haven't seen any commercials or anything.
Okay. Well, I like what I've seen so far of that, and I also kind of like it as mermaid counter programming. I wonder if that's the idea. Wait till you get on the other side of Mermaid being launched, and then we get Ruby. But I don't know. It's just such a tough year to predict. I mean, I think everybody thought Mario would do well, but were people talking that Mario would do $1 billion and counting well?
I mean, you heard it here first, Jim. What did I say? I said this could be the biggest movie of the year. And looking at the rest of the calendar, I don't know what will make more money than Super Mario Brothers. You got to give them points for positioning and how the ads were done. I mean, going to be fascinating. We get to December this year and see whether you were on the mark there. But anyway, folks, lots more animation news to come. But first, I want to remind you, news portion of this week's Fine Tuning is brought to you by Storybook Destinations, trusted travel partner of the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network. For a worry-free travel experience every time, please book online at StorybookDestinations.com. Wanted to follow up on something we mentioned a week or so back. Remember we were chatting about the King Charles coronation? Did you see the story just this past week about, some lip reader, actually figured out what Charles was saying to Camilla inside of the wonderful golden carriage as they were being pulled through the streets wearing their crowns and their lovely white robes? What were they saying?
Basically, Charles was evidently, oh, this is boring. This is very boring. And it's just sort of like, which is, of course, what you want to hear when you're spending, $160 million on a useless ceremony from the 1200s. It's like, yeah, that's a great way to get started. So what they were talking about is that there were these vignettes that were supposed to be dropped in during various moments of the live broadcast to cover he was changing to another robe or putting on his backup crown. And so they were, like the Tom Cruise flyover, but there was one that the Disney company had prepped, which featured Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. Did you get to see this?
No. Is it online?
Yes, it
somewhere?
is. And it's basically Pooh and Piglet at the door of Windsor Castle. And the colorful story that they're sharing is that evidently when King Charles was Prince Charles, he loved the red squirrels that were on the grounds of Windsor Castle. And so much so that he named a few of them and let them get into Windsor Castle occasionally. And the animation actually shows Pooh opening opening the door of the castle, and a whole bunch of red squirrels run in and promptly, I don't know, maybe they eat the wiring of the building. I'm not sure. And I mean no disrespect to the people who did the animation for this thing, but we've seen just in the past 10 years, was Winnie the Pooh,
The movie was 2011, so
2011. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, within the past 10 or 12 years, we've seen high quality animation of Winnie the Pooh done by Disney Studios. I got to say, this stuff, when you look at it, it looks like the stuff that was done for the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh back in the mid 80s, for the Disney Afternoon show. It wasn't great. And in fact, there's a shot in this thing where Pooh is holding open the door at Windsor Castle, and it was either done so quickly or so haphazardly. Pooh's hand is hanging in midair about 2 inches away from the actual door. They didn't even line up the pieces of animation. Just one of these things where it's like, yes, we'd love to take part in the King Charles coronation telecast and say, here, we have $1.40. Go do what you can. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised. Something that, on the other hand, did not surprise me in the slightest. Have you heard about the Barney's World animated series that Mattel, after they acquired the rights to the characters, has in the works?
This is the new completely animated preschool show, right?
There you go. Okay. That's it exactly. Evidently, they've lined up a number of folks who are going to take on the project around the globe. And for example, it's going to end up on Cartoon Network's preschool block, Carnito, and also the folks over at Max, which Max officially launches this week sometime. No,
it's the 23rd. It will 23rd. Launch with Gremlin's Secret of the Mogwai.
And now you sent that along on the pile of stuff that you wanted to talk about today. So far, we only have the trailer, right?
Yeah, this is we had a teaser that was announced that was released during the kind of announcement of Max, and now there is a full-on trailer for the show, and I think it looks like a lot of fun. It's kind of got an interesting art style. They sort of explain why his name is Gizmo, even though Billy's father gave him the name of Gizmo in the 1984 movie. It's sort of like he's saying that his name is something that could be confused with Gizmo. So the kid in the show says, "Oh, you're Gizmo." And, that's the workaround, I guess. But it looks very cute. Yeah.
Again, from a branding point of view and a merch point of view, that, again, elegant workaround. Did we talk about this on air, the Disney Immersive thing? Because you were trying to decide whether or not you should go out to Las Vegas to catch it, right?
Yeah, now I don't need to, Jim, because it's coming on over to LA. Yeah.
And I'm kind of intrigued as to where they set it up, the Amoeba building on Sunset.
Yeah, that's where the Van Gogh thing has been.
Is it really?
Let me tell you, that area, Jim, used to just be really fun between that and the ArcLight and the Cinerama Dome, and there was a veggie grill and a pizza place.
Yeah.
And now it's just a ghost town. It's really sad.
Wasn't there news, though, about the ArcLight will reopen, but they've kicked the can to 2024?
Yeah, I mean, that building is still the only one owned and operated or owned by the people that own the other Pacific theaters. So they held on to that piece of land, and I think that the dome is historically protected, so they can't put up like gross condo buildings. But yeah, the Amoeba has been home to the Van Gogh exhibit for the past few years, and Amoeba has since moved sort of down the street onto Vine, across the street from the Funko flagship store, which Jim, I know, is
oh no
something that you're very excited about.
Do you suppose the place they cleared all of those E.T. Atari games out of is that where the Funkos are going?
Yeah, I think that that's how the walls of the Funko building were made of those E.T. cartridges, and and now it's covered in the blood of Mondo. So that's where it is now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to actually getting to check out the immersive Disney exhibit. I didn't realize that it was already in 13 other cities.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, in fact, they just extended the one in Boston. In fact, what's so funny is that as part of the press kit for the LA launch, they actually include quotes from the folks who saw it in Boston. And I mean, tickets for it are already on sale. And again, officially launches on June 23rd.
What were the quotes from Boston? Somebody going, it was wicked good. You should have seen it. We had to park the car over in Harvard Yard, but we got there and it was amazing.
Well, I would that they were that authentic and funny, but no, it's a peek behind the curtain that you will just never otherwise get. And don't get me wrong, it's fun. Dorothy McKim and the folks who worked on it did a great job. There's some genuinely wonderful sequences in it. When I was talking with Dorothy, out ahead of the Vegas one, they were supposed, I mean, the whole concept of the show is it's supposed to be modular so they can drop new stuff in. And the notion of, oh, you saw that version of the Disney Immersive, you got to come back and see the one where we were adding Under the Sea. And in fact, that's the one that we're supposedly prepping. But I got warned off about talking about it going into Vegas. I wonder if they'll debut Under the Sea in Los Angeles.
We will see, Jim. Maybe they'll just do the rapping seagull part from the new one instead.
Well,
that'd be a thrill.
No, you face it, you have to clear the people out of the building for the next group to get in. Now, on the second half of the show, Drew's going to talk all about, it was this weekend you did your thing at Gallery Nucleus with Craig McCracken, right?
Yeah, yesterday it was a huge hit, Jim. You should have been there. It was great.
I was busy delivering lasagna, but yes, I should have been there. But did you see the story that came out via a Gold Derby about Incredibles 2?
No, why was there a story about Incredibles 2 coming out in the year of our Lord 2023?
There's been a lot of talk lately about AI. And in fact, supposedly that's one of the issues that's on the table with the Writers Guild. But Gold Derby sat down with your buddy, Brad Bird. They announced they're going to make Incredibles 2, but he was busy working on Tomorrowland. Movie gets announced March of 2014. Brad himself could not begin working on the movie till April of 2015, again, because he's already made this commitment to the Tomorrowland movie. A year and a half later, Disney suddenly moves up the release date of Incredibles 2 by a full 12 months. Now it's coming out in 2018, so that Toy Story 4 has the time it needs. And I think reading between the lines here, that's also kind of the Lasseter situation. But Brad talked about how he had a very different storyline set up for Incredibles 2 initially. It was much more ambitious about artificial intelligence. And one evidently the studio itself was really excited about. But the problem was with the newer, closer release date with less time to make the movie, something that ambitious just was not going to be possible. So Brad, from all of his years of working on things like The Simpsons and used to working with tight production deadlines, and in situations like that, what's the phrase they use? You've got to kill your darlings. So they went with a simpler story. I mean, you got to interview Brad a couple of times. Did you get to talk with him for Incredibles 2?
Yeah, and I know what those plans were, the kind of AI thing. You can see some of it on the Blu-ray. There's a sequence at Edna's house where all the appliances come to life and try to kill her and Jack, and it's really great. Jack uses all his powers to save Edna. But there were really, anyone who says like, it's very weird that the movie just climaxed on a boat, which is something that I sympathize with. At one point, this AI was going to take over the entire city and buildings were going to come to life and all of this crazy stuff that didn't end up happening because of what you said. They lost a year out of their production schedule and all that stuff went away because they just had to get it done. And a boat is a lot easier than a living building. So yeah.
I really want Brad to catch a break. I mean, there's still a part of me that I just can't imagine what it was like to be working on 1906 and to have this thing that Disney and Warner's were going to work together. And didn't they have like all of the sound stages at Warner's set aside because that was actually going to happen?
Oh yeah, it got very close, very close. Yeah.
Totally changing the subject here. When Drew and I get back from this commercial break, Drew's going to tell us all about sitting down and talking with Craig McCracken about his amazing career in animation.
The detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men. The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
No one should have to choose between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters through the Purple Leash Project, so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Before we get to the Craig McCracken stuff, can you talk about the Digman renewal?
Well, I mean, I think we should use the word renewal in quotes, Jim, as we've explained many times before. Yeah, I think this is just
I am
the second.
so sorry.
Yeah,
I keep falling for this.
I know you're like, wow, they're doing more episodes of an animated series and not just.
I mean, see, this is the difference between the guy who records in New Hampshire and the guy who records in LA. It's like yes, you put 20 episodes into production. Oh, what a surprise! Season 1 is 10 episodes. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen with those other 10 episodes.
Exactly. So I've seen the new Clone High episodes, Jim, which are excellent. I should tell you.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, that's another thing where there are 20 episodes total, and we'll get 10 now and another 10 in the not too distant future. I would say probably next year, maybe. But yeah. So I think Digman is the same thing. They made 20 episodes, and so now they're saying it's renewed when it's like. Not renewed, you're just putting out the rest of the ones that you already made. But yes,
it's interesting we're talking about Digman, and again the whole notion of you sign up for 20 episodes and those are 2 seasons. And when you think about what just happened with Netflix and Kid Cosmic, we are always just so lucky when we get a Craig McCracken show. You look at what this guy has been involved with, whether it's Powerpuff Girls or Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, or Wander Over Yonder, which even today has a special place in my heart. But he's still out there plugging away, right?
Oh, yeah. We talked for over an hour. And how I did it was I just went through his entire career. So we got the complete story about everything, including what happened with Wander, where Kid Cosmic came from, the fact that he was kind of finishing Kid Cosmic as Netflix animation was burning down around him. We got a lot of. What do you want to hear about, Jim? You tell me.
So what did happen with Wander? Which again had so many of my favorite vocal. I mean, April Winchell alone that I would tune into the show just for her character.
Well, let me start with the voice cast, because he said that he actually had a lunch meeting with Jack McBrayer. Right. And McBrayer was a huge fan of Foster's and said, if you ever have anything, the smallest part, please let me know. I will do it. And Craig had been working on this thing called Wander Over Yonder as a comic book. And he was just this Muppety guy. And he said after that lunch meeting that he said, oh my God, I think I know who Wander is. It's Jack McBrayer. Because he said he's just as sweet in real life and kind of affable and guileless, and that was it. So what happened with season 3 is that he went to Disney and pitched them season 3, and they said, that's nice, and just didn't pick it up. So he told us what the story for season 3 was going to be, which was that they would collect all the kind of crazy characters that they had met along the way, put them all in the ship, kind of paint it Electric Mayhem style, like the bus. And it was them kind of traveling around the universe, delivering, aliens back to their planets or whatever. But it was really interesting because it was Wander and Sylvie and Hater and what's his name, Peepers on the ship together, having to coexist. And he said it was a really great, funny dynamic of just having them all in the same place at the same time for the whole season. So that was the idea for season 3.
Wasn't season 2 where Lord Hater had to deal with, the first time with competition, Lord Dominator, right? Who turned out to be a really mean teenage girl.
Right.
I mean, it was kind of interesting that the show stepped away from or evolved out of what they'd done for season 1. And did it not hold its numbers? I mean, what did
from what
Disney
he said,
cite?
it was incredibly expensive to produce because it was, they never reused the same location twice because it was all over the universe.
Oh, interesting point.
Yeah, and he said that it was also somewhat hampered by the fact that it was really Hater's show, not Wander's show. And that if he could have done it again, he would have named it, Lord Hater or whatever, Master of Everything. The other thing that was really a strike against it was there were no children characters, and there weren't even any humans. So that was a big ding against it. And if you look at the shows that came after, like Amphibia, like Star versus the Forces of Evil, like Owl House, they all had that human child component that Wander Over Yonder did not have. Even the Future Worm, had a kid at the center. So yeah.
Interesting.
But
wow.
What's really interesting, Jim, and you will be very interested to hear about this, he said that Kid Cosmic was actually developed at Disney.
Whoa.
Yeah, that he had he actually produced a full animatic pilot for the first episode. He had gotten the okay to do a serialized show after the success of Gravity Falls. It was the same show. It was called The Kid from Planet Earth at the time. And it had a kid at the center again. So, he knew that. And they loved it. But then they said that Disney was not programming original animation for young boys. And at the same time, the Owl House was getting developed. And they said, we are going to go with the Owl House instead, which, obviously is a brilliant show that we love.
Yeah.
But that also had had its issues too with Disney.
Of course.
But then he said, okay, but he had a little carve out in his contract that he could take it somewhere else. He went and showed it to Netflix. They went crazy for it. He said, do I need a pitch or whatever? And they said, no, how does 3 seasons sound? And that's how it got greenlit. They changed the name to Kid Cosmic because there was another title, a similarly titled project at Netflix. But yeah, it was going to be a Disney project, which is really interesting that after Wander Over Yonder, he stuck around and created that amazing show.
Wow. Now, you're killing me that I didn't tune in yesterday. And did Gallery Nucleus do the live broadcast?
They didn't do the live broadcast, but they recorded it, so I think it'll be online sometime.
Cool.
I'll get a copy, Jim, and send it to you, because we went through his entire filmography, career. We talked about him designing the characters for the Dumb and Dumber TV show, which he did, and he was my friend Penn Ward's kind of mentor at Cartoon Network. He was the one that kind of rescued Adventure Time from Nickelodeon and said to Cartoon Network, you have to put this on. This is the next best show. So he's an amazing guy. And he did tease a couple of upcoming projects, Jim, including a Powerpuff Girls reboot that he is overseeing. So this will not be the 2016-2017 failed reboot. And also a Foster's preschool show spinoff.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah,
I could
that
see
is set
that.
in the same house. He's like, it's just like if you turn the camera to the right and you were just capturing another set of characters. So it's sort of younger characters learning what to do because Blue is screwing up, and that he's kind of like the older imaginary friend. They're watching and they're learning from him, kind of messing up. And that's what the new show is about, which is very cute.
Okay. Was Lauren there? Did she come along?
I thought I was like, tell Lauren I said hello, and he was like, I think she's here. I didn't see her, but she was definitely talked about because they're a force to be reckoned with.
I was lucky enough when she had Medusa set up at Sony. I got to sit with her in her office for a half hour and have her talk me through that movie. And we've got the Netflix saving from the fire, the shape-changing teenage girl.
Oh, Nimona. And I wish that somebody would be smart enough to reach out to Lauren and find out, we got Nimona away from Blue Sky. Can we get Medusa away from Sony? Because it was the greatest idea for a teenage girl empowerment story, funny as hell, based in the Greek gods and mythology and all that. There were some pencil tests that were on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw those, with her running through the forest. But that was an earlier version, I think. That was from the 2D version. But her running through and getting the snakes caught on the tree, did you see all that? It was so good. It was so good. But, he said something, Jim, about her show, Lauren's show, Toil and Trouble, which was being worked on at Netflix at the same time. And he said they were going to send the storyboards to Mercury Filmworks, which is, one of our favorite animation studios, on a Monday.
Yep.
He got the call on Friday that the show was being shut down, and she had to fire everybody on that same day.
God.
He thought he was like, I thought that I was going to retire at Netflix. That's how sure of the place I was.
What amazes me about the Lauren Faust and the Craig McCrackens of the world is they deal with this sort of nonsense working animation. They've had these things happen over and over and over again. And they still get up and do it again. They still, all right, that didn't work. That crashed and burned. Next. I don't know if I would have the fortitude, let alone the creative depth to just, all right, get back on the horse, do it again.
I know.
Although that said, when you were Craig McCracken and you're the guy who did Powerpuff or Foster's, I mean, at least you have that in your back pocket and you have these opportunities to revisit characters and that sort of thing. And I'm really hoping and that happens someday with Wander, because that was such an amazing show.
Yeah.
But, to have you pop the hood like that, and it's like, yeah, he needed a little kid friend.
Yes, exactly. Like... Well, there was a girl in the front row wearing a bootleg Wander Over Yonder t-shirt. And I said, what happened? Why didn't they make anything? And he said, I was told that it would have to be a guaranteed $1 billion in merchandise before they would even attempt to make anything.
This is what makes me crazy about Disney. Those sorts of conversations where the amount of money that Disney insists on, as in, well, we need a guarantee. We need to know we're going to make that much money. That other companies would fall over we're only going to make $100 million worth of merchandising. It's fine. We're going to make $100 million. And it's like, oh, no. That's hardly worth our time. We're Disney. That's just what Bob Iger takes out of his pockets every night and puts on the dresser before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And Disney didn't used to be like this. In fact, I know you've been working on your Disney in the 90s project, but I've been doing a lot of reading about the company lately in like 92, 93. For example, Len and I this week are talking about the Aladdin's Oasis attraction at Disneyland. Did you ever hear anything about that?
No, I never did, because it was never really utilized in the past few years, which is the only time that I went to. It would be like the place where you would pick up your badge for a press event or something. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah.
Aladdin opens in theaters November of 92, and it suddenly becomes the highest grossing animated film Disney had up till that time. And of course, Lion King comes out 18 months later, but Eisner said, oh my God, we have to do something with this in Anaheim. And so they ordered in, I want to say January, February, a clone of the Royal Caravan Parade. So they rushed that 5-unit thing, but they're also looking at the amount of money that the Breakfast with Aladdin is having in the Soundstage Theater at Disney MGM. And like, okay, we need a restaurant in Anaheim, an Aladdin-themed restaurant. And it's like, and the normal thing, the way it works is that a normal restaurant, it's a year built from the moment you come up with a concept to when you turn the key and hand it off. They did that entire thing in 5 months.
Wow.
And they spent so much money. In fact, I got this straight from David Mumford. He basically told me that they had 8 seatings a day in that restaurant. They started at 11 o'clock in the morning, and the last seating for 250 people, mind you, 10 o'clock at night. And the only way the place was going to stay open is if they filled every seat at every seating. And David's like, it was insane from the day one. People weren't going to come in the park and sit down to have a full lunch at 11 o'clock in the morning, or more to the point, they weren't going to sit down and have a full dinner at 10 o'clock when they would have to, just as soon as the show was over, walk out the door. So it all crashed and burned inside of 14 months.
How have we not had an actual attraction based on that movie? It's just...
If you remember the Imagineering Lab, with the VR thing that...
Oh, yes, I do remember that. That was at Disney Quest, right? Or was that in Innovations?
Well, it started at... Imagineering Lab was in Innovations, and then eventually when they did finally launch Disney Quest in 98, it was an attraction there. But at the same time, it was, the VR equivalent of a deep sea diving helmet. It's like, here, put on this 35-pound thing and fly a carpet, kid. You having a good time? I mean, what was it? Mermaid opened in theaters, the original hand-drawn, in 89, and we didn't actually get a quote-unquote ride with it till what, 2012?
And that was the crummy version.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Not the wonderful fly-through Tony Baxter, the thing that was originally designed for Disneyland Paris. But it may happen. Speaking of which, didn't we see a rumor just this week about Mr. Cruise potentially doing another Mission Impossible movie on the side of the two-parter that starts in the summer, right?
If he is, it's going to be with a new creative team, I imagine. I don't know how anybody can get back into the swing of things after these two giant movies. I know he's got another project after 8 that is a little bit more low-key. Okay. No jumping off of helicopters or anything. But it's not the space movie either that I know that people have been talking about.
Oh, okay.
Listen, he could do anything, Jim. He's gonna outlive us all. He'll look good doing it. It's just, it's depressing. He's a force of nature.
He is. And if you want to learn more about this force of nature, you really need to check out the Light Diffuse podcast, folks. This is the wonderful show that Mr. Taylor does with his equally talented co-host, Charles Hood. What are you guys up to this week over there?
Well, this week, I think I can say this because it's coming out after the trailer drops. We're going to be breaking down the brand new trailer, Jim.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
So that'll be this
All
week.
right.
Then we've got a great 2-part interview with Brian Burke, former Bad Robot executive who produced 3 through 5.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, all right. Seriously, folks, you want to check that out. And we have some other podcasts here you might want to check out. We got Disney Dish with Len Testo. We got Marvelous Disney, the podcast that Aaron Adams, our editor here, he and I talk about the latest news in Marvel. And by the way, Aaron also has an outside podcast of his own, 32nd Street. And yes, Brian Gaughan and I will be getting looking at Lucasfilm up out of the ground this week or thereabouts. I'm almost hesitant to ask about the whole social media thing because I saw a tweet by you over the weekend. Are we still at Twitter or are we headed to Blue Sky?
I'm still on Twitter. I mean, people have asked me if I need a Blue Sky account, Jim, but problem with Blue Sky is nobody's on it, so I don't know what I would go.
All right. And what about Tribal? I
haven't heard about that. What is that?
Well, supposedly the folks who previously ran Twitter.
Oh, yes, I've heard.
All
yeah.
Okay.
But no, I'm still on Twitter. Yeah.
But look, if you're looking for us on social media, I mean, again, Drew, you're there, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Jim Hill Media, and over on Facebook as Jim Hill Media News. Beyond that, folks, if you could do Drew and I a favor, if you could head over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review, well, not just the show you're listening to right now, Fine Tuning, but likewise put in a good word for Light Diffuse. That would be incredibly helpful. And I think that's going to do it for now. And when I finish all my homework that Mr. Taylor has given me, we'll be back with a new show. But till then, thank you for listening.